you know, the people are knocking us for not having anything for the new 550 cars. Well, like I said before, I'm a car builder first. And when the cars that, when I can't find what I need to make the cars work, we create it. Now, moving up from the Fox, SN95, SN97, every new generation of Mustang is better and better. The 550s are just a magnificent car. I mean, Ford did a super job. They made it super rigid, which is good, because then the suspension works better. They got, you know, the really nice front suspension, really nice rear suspension. So, you know, the base package, it works pretty good right from the factory. But that doesn't mean we can't make it better. In the next page, now this is a Gt4 Cs Club Sport, and this is development. This is one of our first development cars. This is, you know, a number of years back, and you can just tell that going around the corner, that car is planted. I mean, it is absolutely planted, and that car actually just smokes GT350s. Because we get better cornering speed. And here's another shot at, I think, at Road America. But we did a lot of development early on and discovered that we didn't need a whole bunch of fancy stuff to make the cars work. So that's the Club Sport, which is kind of a medium package. And the next picture, I'm introduce you to Maryland. All our cars, you know, our customers that we do, you know, major jobs on naming their cars. The previous one was Ruby 2, and I kind of refer to Ruby Tuesday. But this one is Maryland, and this is a Gt4 CSR. This is our top of the line track day / street car. And the reason it's named Maryland is that, I mean, it was a really complex build, and it took a long time. We had all kinds of delays from suppliers. So and Jeff Cox, the owner, he named it, and he called it Maryland. And the reason is that well, first of all, it's that white, that three-stage white. That's really kind of pretty. So it's a platinum blonde that everybody wants to get their hands on, but nobody can catch. So that's why it's called Maryland. Okay, let's move along. So I'm just going to go through and kind of show some of the content that I put into these cars. And this is a good rear shot. I see the wing. It's a 3D wing, and you can't see there's a diffuser underneath. But next slide. Okay, here's another shot. Now again, you just look at that car, and that car is absolutely planted. I mean, it's moving fast, and it's as stable and as sturdy as can be. And I can tell you that driving that car is just an incredible experience. Here's a shot from the back showing our wing diffuser and exhaust system. Okay, next. That's a good picture too, and another good picture coming around the corner. Okay, we're getting into the parts next. Okay, take a look at these brakes. You see they got the Kenny Brown name on them. Those are absolutely the biggest brakes you can put on an S550 Mustang. That is a 15-inch rotor, and the calipers are about 14.5 inches tall. Big, huge. And you can see that it's got a really aggressive fin profile on it. And if we go to the next picture, it shows you the rotor is actually 15 by 1.4 inches. So that is the absolute biggest caliper available for a 550 Mustang, and the biggest rotor available for a 550 Mustang. So saying we don't have anything for the new cars is just wrong. And this is what we also do for the factory. If somebody wants to keep the factory brakes on, like the Brembos, we go to two-piece slotted rotors, which cool better, and they have the slots to help vent gases and brake dust. And for the back of the car, we have we have a 6-piston 15-inch package for the back. It's the same six-piston calipers we've been using for years and years. Those are the calipers that I ran on Ruby, my track car, except I had the racing versions, which are lightened up and a little bit different. But, you know, really amazing brake package for these cars. Okay, next. Now we've got three levels of actually I think 4 different shock packages for the 550s, and this is our premium shock package. These are the JRZ RS Pros. They're monotube, double adjustable with a remote canister. And when we say remote canister, a lot of people don't understand what that canister is all about. Well, to make it simple, if you've ever seen a double adjustable shock, typically a double adjustable shock will have the rebound adjustment on top and the bump adjustment on the bottom. Well, climbing under, if you're tuning at the track, climbing under the car all the time to just bump is just kind of a pain in the butt. So the canister actually is the bump adjust. The canister adds extra fluid volume, and you adjust your bump on the canister. So having that like tucked under the hood where you can reach it right next to the rebound adjustment or in the trunk just makes it super handy. And this is just an absolutely amazing shock package. Again, I handpicked the springs for this application. And what we use mostly is the JRZ single adjustables, and then we've got another street performance coilover package that works really well. So, and then we've got, of course, forged line wheels. We've got a number of different forged line wheels for the 550s. We've been using forged line since that very first came out along at 94. Just amazing wheels, and we'll stick by them forever.
We also have a lower price.
Oh, you also have a more modest, a reasonably priced wheel package too, for people that the forged lines are super premium wheels, but the price reflects that. But we also have some more better priced wheels, value. Let's call them value wheels. Okay, now here's something that we have that nobody else has. Jacking rails. I mean, all the jacking rails you see are mostly just tubes that when there's a problem when you put a flat tube on the jacking rails. I mean, the flat tube on the cars there, because what you mount them to has a 5-degree angle to it. And we had one customer called, and he's got some jacking rails from somebody, but he says the whole thing is tilted, and he only gets to put the jack on the edge. Well, we solved that problem. This isn't a tube. This is a fabricated jacking rail, and if you look at it at the end, you can see that it's a parallelogram. It's not a rectangle, and the reason for that is the 5-degree angle sits on the car, so it's absolutely a perfectly flat surface all the way down for a jacking rail. So that's something nobody else has. And if we could go to the next slide. Okay, engine. For this particular car, it's pretty cool. Of course, we've got cold air kit and my really, really good triple pass, triple thick aluminum radiator that cools, has amazing cooling job. But then we've got the cold air kit, which as you can see is pretty snazzy. And then my three triple pass radiator. When I say triple pass, standard radiator is a single pass. The water comes in the top on the right and it goes out on the bottom on the left. In stock car racing, dual pass radiators became really fashionable, where it goes in the top, makes a U-turn, and comes out. But for mostly GM cars, I think that worked the best. So for a Mustang, that's pretty impractical. Because the inlet's at the top right and then the outlet's on the bottom left. So with a triple pass, the water comes in, goes across the radiator, makes a U-turn, comes back across the radiator, makes a U-turn, and goes back across the radiator again. So it's a triple pass. Your coolant makes 3 passes through the radiators, and the radiator itself is like triple thick, absolute total drop-in. Just super easy OE replacement. I take the OE radiator out and drop this new one in. And because of the fin designs, I think it's like 17% more surface area. So that's the radiator. We had one customer with a GT350 at Road America. This radiator took 30 degrees of temperature out on track, which is pretty significant. So, and next we have use a 4-point roll bar in our track cars, in the 550s and the S197s. And of course, with the roll bar goes harness belts. We've got a couple of different harness belts. I mean, if you're doing getting into like intermediate and advanced, you really have to be held into your seat. and you need a good set of harness belts. So we've got several different ones of those, and these are one of those I chose for this car. Next. And of course, we have exhaust. This car also had Bassani headers, X-pipe, high flow cats, and exhaust system. And go back. So anyway, the exhaust was part of the engine package. And I kind of got off of the engine package, but we did, because this is a really cool track car. We put in some comp cams, stage 2 cams, and this was a 17, so we put the GT350 intake and throttle body in, and with headers, and it just makes really nice horsepower. Just pulls like a freight train. It's really fast to go with the rest of the car. On the forge lines, we had I think 19 by 10 and 11, maybe 11 front, 11 and a half front, and 19 by 12 in the back, with a 305 in the front and a 325 in the back. Trofeo R's, which are super sticky tires. So that, to say we have nothing for these new cars is it's wrong. People don't have any idea what they're talking about. Okay, we got our jacking rails, we got our Schroets, we got our exhaust, and also there's a diffuser in there that's a little hard to see. What's next? There's a front splitter, and of course a tow hook. Anybody that's that does serious track days really should have a tow hook. This is pretty unique because it actually unscrews. So you just unscrew it for the street and then just screw it back in for the track. But anybody that's kind of had a car that died and gone off track, it's really handy to hook up to a tow hook rather than trying to reach under the car and break something. And there's another shot of the splitter on the car. Makes for a pretty aggressive look, don't you think? What's next? You really can't see all of it. There's a vented hood. I put vented hoods on all my advanced cars. And those are the aero catch hood latches, which are called aero catch because they just melt right in. They don't create any disturbance. But vented hoods do two things. First, they get out the hot air that builds up in the engine compartment, which is good. And secondly, without a vented hood, as the air comes through the radiator, the place to go down. So you actually start building high pressure underneath the nose of the car. And by venting the hood out, you're relieving some of that pressure, which actually significantly improves front grip, which is, getting back to understeer, oversteer. Improving front grip helps eliminate understeer. So do you have anything left? Sure we do. This is another development car we're working with right now. This is a Gt4 St, and this T stands for street touring or sport touring. And working on it, I've been playing around with spring rates on this. We've come up with a really good set of spring rates that would be like a track street car, but not like all the way up to the CSR level. That makes the car, with the right springs and shocks, these cars just turn. It's absolutely amazing. So this is our street touring package, and our sport touring package, I say. And like I say, we build cars first. So you've seen 3 different levels of cars that I do. We've got the Club Sport, the CSR, and making me dizzy. The Club Sport, the CSR, and then the Sport Touring. So I'm a car builder. I got lots of things for new cars. It's just I don't make trinkets. By trinkets, I mean somebody will take a factory part and just make something that looks fancy out of aluminum or something like that. That it doesn't really change anything. Like on S197 cars, every single piece that goes into the rear grip kit in S197, every piece has an positive impact on suspension geometry. So, like I say, for right now, the 550s, there's some things I want to do, but that's kind of later on. But for right now, we get them set up with the right springs and shocks and brakes, and they're just an amazing car to drive, whether it's on the street or on the track.